Welcome, food travelers. I'm Micah.
And I'm Simon.
In this episode, we're sharing our experience at the Linjiang Street Night Market in Taipei. And before we start this video, if you haven't subscribed already, please do so now. And don't forget to hit the like for this video. Alright, and moving along here. So the Linjiang Street Night Market is really close to the Da'an district of Taipei. And the reason why I chose this one is because it's really close by the Airbnb that I was staying at the time of this recording. It was within, I think, 2 blocks of walking distance. And this night market opens daily from 6 p.m. to midnight, which is what everybody would like for a night market, right? Because this one is a local night market, it's not as crowded as some of the bigger ones like Xiling or the other ones. And as you see in the video, there's not that many people, and there's a lot of places for you to sit down and grab food. Some of the larger night markets is so overcrowded where you have no place to sit and you're just kind of finding a corner on the street just standing there to eat your food. I believe Simon has also been to some of these night markets, right?
Yeah, back in 2019, Micah, when I was in Taipei, Taiwan, I did go to a few night markets, and the one like you mentioned before, the Xiling night market, that one was huge. And that one, when I was there was a really popular street food that was there. It was these soy sauce chicken, and it was pretty much a grilled chicken, and they would rub it with this sweet soy sauce on it. And I remember when I was there, this is a huge line that kind of stretched down the block. And being the size it was, when I talk about being stretched around the block, it was a really long block because there was a lot of people who wanted that chicken. It was pretty much a flattened half chicken, and it's kind of butterflied, and then they would put the soy sauce after they grill it up, and it was really good, but definitely a long wait just to go get it.
Yeah, and if you haven't noticed from the video, some of these blocks can be really long too. They're not like the US style blocks where they're like shorter, I would say. What do you think, Simon? They're pretty long, right?
Yeah, the way they design the streets and stuff, it's not quite the same. Especially, and I think a lot of Asian cities have this, where you have kind of these inner alley walkways. You know, I guess in the U.S. you would think of them as alleyways, where in the U.S. we don't really use alleyways at all. It's kind of just where you have all your dumpsters and everything else that you're kind of hiding away. But in Asia, you kind of all these different ways you go through, and it's not designed for cars to go through, so then you end up having these really large blocks that have all these alleyways to walk through and kind of cut in and out of things to kind of see different places and different vendors and different stores.
Yeah, and moving along here, so one of the items I really wanted was sugarcane juice. So the lady was asking, oh, do you want it hot or cold? What size do you want? And I didn't want anything cold because at the time of this recording, it was pretty chilly. So I got something that was, I guess, room temperature. And then on the side of this cart or stall, I would say, there's this guy who was kind of like roasting it. So it was over kind of like, I guess, like charcoal or flames or something. And you see him just turning it ever so slightly. And maybe that's why when it comes out of this grinder or blender, it looks a lot drier than maybe the one that Simon has in Cambodia.
Yeah, when I first seeing that now coming out, it just has this really odd look. What I'm used to is they kind of, at least in Cambodia, they'll put it through the strainer essentially, and it'll squeeze all the juice out, and then they'll fold it in half again and put it through again until they get as much juices as they can out of it. And one of the things I thought, at least I've never experienced, was I didn't know that they offered hot sugarcane juice. I've always only seen like kind of room temperature or cold with ice. Of course, in Cambodia it's tropical and it's hot, so I always go for the nice ice cold sugarcane juice, which is absolutely delicious.
Yeah, and moving along, another one that I wanted from watching Simon's video was this banana raw tea. This one was drizzled with honey, and they did have other type of sauce too. I think it was Nutella and peanut butter or some other ones. I think condensed milk too. But for this time around, I really wanted the honey one because something about honey and raw tea and banana sounded really, really good at the time. Have you had something similar to that with the honey, Simon?
I've never had the honey version, but I know at least in Cambodia, some of the popular ones is with the sweetened condensed milk, and then usually with banana, the classic combination with Nutella. It's always one that it's available.
And some of the other really popular items here at any night market, I would say, is stinky tofu, and pretty much stinky tofu is kind of like an acquired taste, I would say. But if you grew up with stinky tofu, you kind of know already that the stinkier it is, the better tasting it is, and kind of like the softer the tofu or smoother, as they would say in Chinese, is the smoother it tastes. And I really don't know what a better translation for smoother tofu is in English, because I don't think there is one. I would say it's kind of like in Western culture, you have like the different type of cheese, and then cheese kind of fermentates a different way, and certain cheeses are pretty stinky and they taste differently. I guess that's a good comparison. What do you say, Simon?
Would you say it's like silkiness? Is that something that would match that?
Yeah, I think that's a good way of describing it. Silkiness, for how smooth it is. I guess kind of comparing to let's say maybe milk tea. Like the way they strain it, it can get a little bit silkier, smoother taste to it.
I know when I was there, definitely you can smell it as you're walking close to the stinky tofu vendors. Actually, in Cambodia, it's not tofu, but we have a dish here that's very popular, very local Khmer cuisine, and it's called brohok. And there's different versions of it. So I guess since I had stinky tofu once, so I don't know all the different versions of stinky tofu itself. But for brohok, there is different versions where you have more of a meaty version. You have like more of a fish, seafood type version, and there's multiple versions. And that one is also kind of has that same fishy smell. I don't know if it's fishy, but stinky smell. A lot of it has to do with fermented fish that is part of the ingredients, and it does smell bad at times, and there's versions that smell worse than others, but it actually tastes really good. And so I can understand. And when I had the stinky tofu, I mean, to me it was okay. It wasn't like bad, but it wasn't great, something that I needed to have again.
Yeah, stinky tofu is kind of got this bland taste to it, I would say. It does stink, but the taste of it, the moment you put it in your mouth, you won't really smell it anymore. But one thing is, with stinky tofu, it's usually deep fried, so it's got like a nice crust or fried to the outside of it, and usually they do serve it with some sort of spicy sauce and soy sauce, so you can dip into to give it a little bit more flavor into it. But overall, tofu in general, there's not that much flavor to it. I don't know how to describe how a tofu would taste like.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there. I mean, tofu, it's pretty bland by itself. I think mostly it's textural, where you have like the softer one versus a harder tofu, and that's more textural rather than flavor. To me, tofu just kind of picks up whatever flavor you put sauce it or whatever it's with. So pretty much that taste that whatever it is you're going for is pretty much whatever flavor you want, and then the tofu is just giving you that bite, so there's something to actually bite into.
Yeah, and I did also want to mention in the night market scene, there are many night markets in Taiwan in itself, just throughout the country, because there's so many different streets and different and the population is so dense there. So if you're wondering, is it just one or two? No, there's actually like I think 10 or 15 just in Taipei alone, and a lot of the vendors, they do only take cash, but I believe some of them, they take the Line app, where you could add some sort of cash payment to that system. I guess kind of like I don't know what we have in the U.S.
I think it's like you can scan.
Yeah.
I don't think the U.S. really has it at this moment. I guess the closest thing you could say is like the tap would be the closest to it. But in Asia, at least, in terms of the banking system, they have they like to use the QR codes a lot. Different banks will offer QR codes, and the vendors will have it, and you can just pretty much open up your banking app and scan the QR code and make payment to whatever vendors, whoever has it. It's very convenient. They have it in Cambodia as well, and it's used often. So it's really, really popular in Asia. I'm assuming at some point maybe the U.S. will kind of go towards that direction, but at least right now, I guess the closest thing we have is just the tap payment system.
Yeah, that's a good point. So moving along to the last dish that I've had here is this soup. So it was really cold and I really wanted to warm up here, and so I ordered the apple and chicken soup, and I believe this other one is also chicken. I think this one was with ginseng in it. So there was two different soups, and they were both pretty light overall. Something that drew me to the apple chicken soup is it's just something that you don't normally see, especially in the US. Is chicken and apples.
Yeah, that's not a combination that you'll see just alone. I know there's some soup recipes that I've made before, especially a butternut squash soup, and it'll ask for apples and like chicken broth. So I think the combination is good for those two. But in this case, it's like not with anything else. So that was interesting. But it sounds like it would taste really good.
Yeah, it tasted really good for the apple chicken soup. So overall, if you are in Taiwan and you're looking for some midnight snacks or late night snacks, and you're not really wanting to just go to one restaurant, you want to try a bunch of different things, definitely check out these night markets. And to wrap up the episode are the notables. Unfortunately for this one, there are none.
If you've enjoyed the content you've seen, don't forget to support the channel and hit like and subscribe. And if you want to see additional pictures of food and our travels, go over to our Instagram page and follow us there. And thanks for watching.